I'm not crying, you're crying. Deep breath, deep breath. You know, every so often there is an episode that can only be considered one word, and that is perfection. They are definitely far and few between, but when that episode hits, I am consumed by a sense of fulfillment. That everything I have experienced, the action, the emotion, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads, everything culminates into the pinnacle of what that series is meant to be. For Mob Psycho 100, this is that episode. So why was this episode truly special? Well, not only did we get to witness the emotionally devastating conclusion to a series-long character arc, a series-long story arc, but the next big leap in Mob's journey to maturity in accepting his feelings. My biggest question coming off last week's episode was, how was this plotline going to end? Would Mob change his mind? Would Dimple throw away his dream? Or was there some reality where both could get what they want without conflicting with the other? The answer was actually all three. And yes, it's all thanks to Hanazawa's shitty taste. Questionable taste indeed. And little did Dimple know, that moment of pure, blunt honesty is exactly what Mob needed, as he realized amongst those closest to him, including his brother Ritsu and Reagan, that Dimple was the only one to tell him the truth. This revelation led to a moment of clarity, that Dimple was someone to be trusted. While yes, he may have gotten carried away, Dimple was just doing what he wanted to do, but yet he did not want to do it alone. And in truth, constantly seeking Mob to accompany him on his journey to become a god was Dimple's way of showing how much he trusts him. So going forward, Mob would do the same. After honesty comes acceptance, which was what Dimple was searching for all along. It wasn't his legions of followers or the power of a god. It was being acknowledged, being accepted. What he truly wanted was a friend, one he finally has in Mob. Acknowledging this in a moment of self-reflection relinquishes the dream he's been working towards for a greater one, simply living a life with his friend Mob. Dimple's character metamorphosis is complete. Much like this episode did for me, Dimple has found a sense of fulfillment, something that I think he acknowledges being a god wouldn't do. So in the end, yes, Mob changed his mind. Dimple gave up his dream, and for a bright, shining, cathartic moment, these two existed together with content. Of course, not all stories have happy endings. With Dimple relinquishing his control of the divine tree, one would think that's where the story ends. But unfortunately for our little weapon of mass destruction, the evacuation of his psychic powers has left him unconscious. So now it's up to God Dimple to protect his friend. The chaotic battle that is about to ensue is a glorious piece of art and animation, from the dynamic angles to the choreography to its sense of realism through weight and speed. This is just a brilliantly crafted sequence. While it's still too early to tell if this is the greatest battle of the series, it does in fact have one of the greatest endings. With the divine tree gaining the upper hand by absorbing Dimple's god power, it seems there's only a final few moments to spare. So without consideration for himself, Dimple uses the last of his power to not only get Mob to safety, but to say his final farewell. Accepting that his powers may have gone to his head, and acknowledging the fact that Mob is a real badass for living his life with the constant constraint of holding this tremendous force back, praises Mob for the man he will soon one day be. With pure exhaustion setting in, Dimple's brainwash ability finally works on Mob, giving him his first and final command. Stand up on your own 2 feet and walk. I absolutely love how in these sequence, Mob sees Dimple how he wants to, how he envisions him. The little green slimer he knows and loves, and not the ravaged body of a former god. I absolutely love this moment of self-sacrifice. Not only did he throw away one dream, but he achieved another. And yet there was no hesitation when it came to surrendering his life for Mob's. It's such a beautiful moment. And although Mob's mind can't remember, I believe his heart does. As we see the broccoli take off like a rocket ship out into space, Mob spends his final moments of the episode crying and thanking Dimple. Like I said, this episode was absolute perfection. And I'm just left questioning, what's next? What happens now? Where do we go from here? What did you guys think of this episode? Wasn't it really fucking good? Like, my God, one hits fucking hard. Anyways, I have to ask, do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you want some more of it? Well, I do. So with all that being said, and more Mob Psycho 100 next week, I cannot wait for future episodes.